Hello and welcome back from the break. We just saw a very, very interesting set of games. Apparently I missed a joke, which everyone was going crazy about in chat, something about crashing off a cliff, but I have no idea what that was, so completely over my head. I'm sorry, that's probably going to become a commonplace in this season. Jokes just seem to just slide past me sometimes. I do apologize. I'll try and be a little bit more brainy when it comes to your sneaky little jokes in there. So
I don't know what you're talking about. I still
right,
don't know what you're talking about.
All right. So that's how you're going to play
idea.
it?
Yeah.
Well, okay, fair enough. Kazna Crew versus, we saw GF Gaming there get beaten by Kazna Crew. 3-1, the last battle on Abbey going to Kazna Crew. Also took Mines. GF Gaming did well on Himmelsdorf to take it back one game after losing quite spectacularly on Ensk. So good games from Kazna Crew, some good games from GF Gaming. We were saying a little bit before the break how they're going to progress as a team. We saw some good coordination. We saw some promising tactics from them. So really looking forward to seeing them. And GG on your first games for sure.
Yeah, indeed. It was my first ever game, so what a way to kind of get welcome to World of Tanks at a professional level especially. But we do have a second game.
We do. We've got DeNova, previously known as Meteor Makers, obviously changing the name a little bit. Versus just a touch, I guess.
It's very similar.
Yeah, very, very similar. But we got DeNova versus Spale, our community favorite Finnish team. Unfortunately, another finish. Was that a pun?
It really wasn't, but he's now really paranoid. So we're gonna be doing this throughout the game. I'm gonna try and sneak in some bits, but I won't be too mean.
If you do it at the end of the game and they win and you say another finish, that would have been quite cool. To keep that in mind. Keep that in mind.
You can't ruin jokes before if you do a joke here, it'd be hilarious, wonderful. So, you know, we're not allowing him to make any funny remarks throughout this game, at least. Yeah, Finnish people. All I know is how to swear. Like, I'd love to say something, you know, quite good in Finnish, but like every other Brit who learns any other language, all we ever learn is how to swear.
You learn other languages?
That's a very good point, actually.
I was unaware of this. I live in Germany now, and yeah.
I'm still pretty bad at it. Yeah. I'm working on it. But anyway, back to the game, and you know, our awfulness aside, we will be going to the Tanks picks in just a second, so do not fear. But I've got to ask your opinion on this. Who are you backing on this one? Because MYM, you know, are a very, a respectable organisation. They've been in just about every single title you've ever played. So obviously there's a little bit of prestige that came with that. So I can imagine these guys aren't someone to be taken lightly. They certainly wouldn't be the underdogs that we saw in the previous match. Now obviously Spale, even I've heard of, and I'm fairly new to this, and I loved watching their VODs. I love the way they played. Another team with a lot of character to it. But you know, how do you think this one's going to go in your opinion?
I think it's going to be an interesting one, just because MYM are so strong. They played so well towards the end of the season. They were a top 4 team, and then they just lost everything. They just lost absolutely everything, and losing against Dragonborn spectacularly on their last map. We'll never forget Wide Park and Magus in his T1. And I think Spale had a more consistent season, and that could in their favor for the first few games because they have that consistency. They know how to play consistently. But I honestly think this is probably one of the closest games we'll see for a while, because these two teams are so close. The skill level, the players of how they coordinate together, the artillery player, it's so close. It's going to be an interesting one, that is for sure.
Yeah, indeed. And guys, you've heard his prediction. It was a pretty, murky one. He didn't really want to. He's sat on the fence right now. You know, he'll fall off it at some point, but you know that might take some time. Did you get that?
I got that.
You got that. He got it. He's catching on, guys. But let us know your opinions as well. So go on Facebook, go on Twitter, tweet at WoT Pro League. Okay, just let us know who you think is becoming, the victor of this one. Will it be the ex-MYM newly titled team? They've retained the same lineup, haven't they? Yeah,
they've essentially the same lineup. They got the Hive from the Rush. He was their T1 player. He's moved into that team now, I think. That's what the rumor is, and I think I've seen him actually in the team. So that's the one little change. But Spale, completely the same team, same players. Exactly. And they'll just be looking to take their team up to the next level in this season. If they will do that, I don't know. I mean, it's going to be 50-50. I've always said that Spale will be one of those teams we'll see coming out in Season 3 because they'll have 2 seasons under the belt. They'll have that experience. They've grown up a little bit. They've grown into their roles as players a little bit. And I think Season 3 will be their
moment to shine.
Their moment to shine for sure, yeah.
Well, we're going to have to wait and see, but we're going to have to start off with this one. So hopefully they're going to start picking soon if you just give them the nod to start picking. And there we go. So they will be underway in just a moment, and we'll give you an idea exactly what we could be expecting to see here up on Ensk again. Now, I did get corrected that, there probably won't be artillery on this map, funny enough.
Unless you're Mouse Sports and you take 2 grills.
Yeah, exactly. Unless you want to really confuse me, which would be hard. Don't do that, all right? I'm still learning this game. I'm working. All right, but I'm still learning this, but I've had a good couple of games to learn already. You know, it wasn't just a whitewash. It wasn't just, you know, a complete slog. It was a nice bit of back and forth between them. And I think they are actually starting to pick, so hopefully we can get that up on your screen so you can see exactly what we're seeing here, because they are starting to make their choices towards how they want to play out Ensk at the moment. But you said it's going to be a very standardized pick. You know, the variation comes from the tactics rather than the tanks itself. Yeah,
we're seeing AMX 5100 being picked, as we saw in the previous round. T69's IS-3 is coming out as well from both teams. As Lauren just said, we're expecting nothing unusual. But Ronnie, as soon as I say that, taking
just
it 110.
It, right?
As soon as I say that, it's the Caster's Curse coming out. 110, the Chinese tier 8 heavy tank, actually pretty good. I mean, it doesn't do the greatest amount of damage, but it does do it very fast. It's got a very good reload. It's got good penetration. It's got good armor. It can absorb all sorts of stuff.
So it's your linebacker almost of a team. It's that kind of that kind of stocky fella in the lineup.
And it's a perfect counter to the T69 because it can absorb so much damage. And you know, if the T69 doesn't connect those shells, then what is the point of it?
Yeah, indeed. I think Spale are actually already ready as well, so I'm going to give them a quick ready from us too, because we are almost ready now to go into Ensk. And with this map in mind, who do you think is going to get it now? You've got to call it. You've got to call a team on this map. All right, just this map. I'm not going to make, you know, really go all out there. Who's going to really kind of be the team to make the plays, make the damage, do the work?
I think we'll see Spale come out on this map because I think they're the stronger team in a lot of respects, and obviously they've got Dovahkiin in the T69 who plays that middle position so well, and they've learned so many lessons from DreamHack on Ensk, where they played pretty poorly actually against Dragonborns, but you know, they did take a sneaky win out there from Dragonborns at the beginning. It would just be really up to Dovahkiin and the T69. It will be really up to if Attila can play as well as he did in the previous rounds, in previous game days, I should say, in that IS-3. Yeah, I think it will be Spale's game to lose for sure.
Yeah, and I'm just requesting a minute there to just sort themselves out, make sure they're ready for this one, because obviously these guys in the previous season knew as well. The rank 4 up against the rank 8 under the MYM title before they got that new player in, they got the new organisation behind them. So these guys, you know, they are very close. We watched a game before, you know, between the rank 6 up against someone who wasn't actually in there before, really, you know what I mean, under that title. Again, they're a newcomer to this. So we are actually going to see two teams who are fairly high up there in the previous season now going to face off straight away. And what a way to kick things off. You know, I don't think I could have asked for a better game to start with. And I'm hoping we're going to see something similar on this one. And as you said, you already mentioned that Dovahkiin was someone you wanted to keep your eyes on at the very start of this. But it does seem as though it's time to go.
So here we go again on Ensk. I'll be following MYM. Lauren will be following Spale, as they will be having this north position for MYM. Spale will be taking the south position. Interestingly, as we were talking about earlier, the 110 being picked by Agriel as well, if they can make it work, DeNova will certainly be the stronger team, but it's going to be interesting to see if they can make it work, because I have no idea how they're going to use it.
Yeah, indeed. And we see a massive presence from Spale already, straight down towards that 2 line. And just going to park that tank straight up there. That's the AMX 5100. Whereas the rest of the team will make their way further forward. The early spot has come out, and they've already kind of caught a glimpse of that T1. I think that's Ronnie there for the MAM side, as Attila and co make their way just a touch further forward and just populate that 2 line completely, utterly, spotting another AMX 50 as well.
Yeah, well, DeNova have kind of, you know, they're sitting back a little bit. I mean, Spale are one of the aggressive teams, and I think DeNova will be saying to themselves, okay, we know Spale pushes a lot. We know they fail in their pushes a lot. If they do get it right, then they play really well and they win the match easily. But they'll be getting positions, they'll be getting themselves sorted out, hoping that Spale makes some stupid mistakes, hoping that they push onto them, and hopefully just managing to connect those shells. But, you know, it's going to be a good few minutes until we see a push from either team. as both are just clearing the way, because we see Ostabenna clearing some walls out, hopefully to get some line of sight, some good shots onto a possible push from Speil.
Yeah, indeed, and I think it's Muppety there actually towards that two line. I was a little bit worried of that far left side of this map, as they haven't seen much presence of the opposition there just as of yet, but he did spot that AMX-50 early on. And then he just caught a glimpse of the IS-3 making their way down that 6 line, so going to try and adjust accordingly and make sure they're not overexposing themselves and not going to get too roped into this fairly advanced position here.
Yeah, well, DeNova are one of the most experienced teams for sure. I mean, we saw them under many names. This will probably be around their 5th or 6th name, actually, starting off as Red Tide.
Yeah, indeed, and it's actually Wattila and Muppety to already catch a glimpse, laying down those shells. No real connection, though, as Muppety now gets himself nicely positioned through the little gap there, but doesn't land it. So not the exact start they wanted, but nevertheless, they're being aggressive, as you said, and still no shells connecting. What is going on here between these two?
Yeah, the hull down position of both tanks, the turret armor of both tanks, the mantle of both tanks playing coming to this game. I mean, you can't deny that these guys are not going to miss the shells if it comes down to it, but the tank is a tank. If you can only hit the turret, then you're going to try and make the shot. If you connect and you penetrate, then that's fair enough. As we do see Agriel actually responding to a shot from Muppety, connecting a good 300 damage onto him, and responding with a good taking a good 300 damage. So
yeah, early exchange going down, not drastically in favour to one or the other just as of yet, but they're certainly exchanging blows here, as that T69 is not too far back actually for MYM. They have spotted for Speil, so they're clearly keeping this in mind as well. These guys obviously don't want to be too committed to just one thing and just completely focus in one way, otherwise they're open to such a map like this. You've got to be careful. Another connection that came out from Wattila actually knocking how do you pronounce that? Agriel?
Agriel,
yeah, actually knocked down, only on to 720 now, so Muppety going back in for seconds, as I believe they are trying to get the attention back towards their own flag, and more damage being dealt. 349 actually taken off, so these two literally just dancing with him right now, and well, they're looking pretty good to take him down actually, if he's not too careful.
Yeah, but the thing is, Dovahkiin was focused down pretty early on. He's down to about 400 HP in that T69. And it was probably down to Ostabenna playing the IS-3 superbly. IS-3 is great in that side-scraping position. Side-scraping being when you put your side to the tank, you are facing, and you use the IS-3 side armor to completely scrape off all the shells. And that's exactly what he did. He played it well, and Dovahkiin's suffering the consequences.
Yeah, he may have been suffering, but he's certainly taking down Ronnie there, landing that shell perfectly, and just knocking back another. You said this man was one to watch, and he's just proven why, taking 2 of those T1s out of the picture there, and just retaining that flag firmly in their hands.
Yeah, it does look like MYM are actually pushing now.
Yeah, indeed, and it's Wattila and Muppety to feel the pain of that, as the rest of the DeNova or MYM side are now surrounding them completely and utterly. Shells are being exchanged, and now only Muppety stands in this very tight neck position, with the rest of the DeNova side still coming in, trying to do the work. The fire from that T69 is just slowly but surely working away at him, as now Muppety is going to be in trouble soon.
Yeah, Agriel completely blowing away Dovahkiin there. 408 damage. Dovahkiin not responding, not managed to get out of that situation. And it's pretty even, Stevens, although DeNova have the T69.
Oh, and Muppety is being torn apart right now. The tracks were taken out. The fuel tank was damaged. Now, with only 153 points left, he literally is just staring down the barrel of the gun there and has been taken completely out. It is DeNova indeed. I keep saying MYM because it's in their tag, but just so you guys know who it is. But now, well, Speil, they're trying to do work, but with only 2 left standing, they've got a lot of work to kind of pull out of the bag here.
Yeah, now Agahar played it not particularly well then. He should have just waited. He should have bided his time. He should have just stayed back, because now that he spotted, DeNova can actually make a push. They can do whatever they want because they know the MX-5100, so they don't have to worry about him. But that was a good little push by DeNova. I mean, Dovahkiin shouldn't have died. We said at the beginning he'll be the game changer. He'll be the one to lose or win the game, and he should not have taken that shot from Ostabenna.
Yeah, indeed. Ostap is laying down some more shells towards that T1 that is actually just trying to back up a touch here. He doesn't want to drop down. He doesn't want to die, you know, needlessly right now, obviously. As I just try and get another angle. He's laying down some return fire. Not a great deal of connection. As you said, it's not going to do massive amounts of damage towards a tank like that. It's trying to do what it can, but it's not going to do a massive amount. So who do you think is going to come out the better in the situation? Obviously, you know, the XMIM, that side look a little bit better right now, but, you know, it's still a tight one.
It does actually look like Agriel is using the bigger shotgun, and I think we'll see DeNova pushing and winning this engagement, actually, just simply because they have the numbers advantage. And Aga can't do much in that T1. It does do 12 damage and has 41 penetration, but, you know, you can't do much with that Hispano gun at all.
Yeah, and Spell having to back out here. That turret was damaged earlier. That's why we saw a very passive bit of play. And he tried to do some work, taking down Agria just a little bit off that nice little comfortable point he got left on. There's now only one man stands in that T1. I don't know what we can expect to see here. Not a lot. Not a lot.
Agria connecting 2 moving shots with that really big gun, which is no mean feat in itself. But GG to DeNova, not MYM. It's hard when they got tags and stuff.
Exactly. You can't just go. You can't just go out in tags there. That's just not cool.
Yeah.
Why would you do such a thing?
Trying to troll us, I think.
They are, you know. I can't help but as soon as I see a tag, I'm like, that's their name.
Yeah.
You know, some of them have DeNova, some don't. They are officially known as DeNova. And, well, they've shown us, you know, a little bit of work early on there. That was a nice bit of play coming out.
That was no mean feat. DeNova?
Nope.
Anyway, moving swiftly on. We got Ostapenbender doing 2.6k damage in that IS-3. Agriel playing very well as well. He did almost 2.6k, almost taking over Ostapenbender, which is pretty interesting because we've never really seen the 110 being played quite as well. So Agriel's obviously been practicing a lot on that tank, picking up 3 kills actually. So well played by him. But you know, Sech, look at him, 0 damage. I mean, it's a testament to those 2 guys' skill to carry Sech through that game.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the best way we can put it. And they are asking if they can start the pick. I'm just going to give them the go-ahead. As we will be going on to a different map that I haven't seen as of yet.
It is one of our new maps, actually. We've got Y Park out. That was replaced by Steps, which is going to be the other big open map, obviously a compliment to Prokhorovka. This one being removed for Airfield, we felt that it's perhaps a little too campy. We didn't like the way the game was being played on there, as was the same with Wipeout. We thought teams were picking, it was a campy map. We saw some good games on it, but we didn't like how the teams were picking the north side as a kind of thing to say, okay, it's a guaranteed win, because it is so favoured for the north side. We didn't like that at all. So that's why we're having Ruhenberg, that's why we're having Steps. And as you said, our next map will be Ruhenberg.
And I've got to say it, right? This map for me was the first map I actually played really well on.
Really?
It was the first map that I actually did pretty good on. And I was pretty proud of that. It was because it allows for such great positioning. That's the thing, and it can be so vital. And it finally clicked into my head how to do it. So I can't wait to see someone probably being able to do it. And another great example of how this can be played out. You know, the one thing I feared coming into this game was it might be a bit slow, it might be a bit, a bit campy. But with the maps I've seen so far, it's the complete opposite. I've seen aggressive teams, completely flipping what I'd expect this game to be like on its head. But I think we are going to go into the tank pick, so let's have a little look at that so you guys can keep up to exactly what we're seeing. But why don't you take us through that? Yeah,
we're seeing... well, this is very interesting for me as well, because I've seen this map being picked in Go for What, so we kind of have a little idea, and we're seeing that being played out, AMX 1390s, T69s, but once again, the artillery come into the equation. Not so long ago, I would say 3, 4, perhaps 5 weeks ago, we'd have seen the Lorraine 15551, that Tier 7, now Tier 8 French artillery being picked on this map quite often, and it was actually really winning the games quite a lot, which is quite strange because it is a city map. But there's enough opportunity for them to connect the shells, which is so important for artillery. But so far, we're just seeing T69s, we're seeing AMX 1390s.
Very standardized. Yeah. See, now, the worst thing is, right, in the break, you guys were explaining to me where we'd see artillery and where we wouldn't. And now you've gone and told me there's a map with a city on it that might have artillery. You've just got to... He's horrible to me, he is. I'm not sure if he's trolling me anymore, but yeah, no, I do understand why it's a fairly open map considering that there is a city kind of placed in here. So it's kind of logic dictates, but with the patch updates, it's going to even be less likely, I can imagine. Yeah, actually, that last pick coming out from Neurofish, confirming our beliefs. No artillery for Ruhenberg as he picks the AMX 5100. Ronnie responding with the AMX 1390. So pretty much the same lineup, both sides picking at least one AMX 5100, in this case of Speil, 2 AMX 5100. It looks like
Ronnie has gone for a slightly faster lineup. He's liking those T69s. He's liking those AMX 1390s. He's picked 2 of those. Well, you know, I think Eurofish, slightly stranger pick because we did see Spiel play very aggressively in the season 2, and you would have thought they would have picked more of a DeNova lineup on Rurenberg. But it's a new season. It's a new start.
Exactly.
We don't know what's going to happen. And that's what's so brilliant about, I think, about these 2 teams specifically, because they are so similar in skill level, but also about the lineups.
Yeah, exactly. The thing I enjoy seeing so far is there's a slight kind of changes. I'm just going to say that we are ready because we are almost underway in the second map here in a brand new season. So these teams are bringing all those fresh tactics in, bringing a couple, maybe a new player, but we're about to go into the game.
Yeah, we don't have a map video for this one.
It's brand new.
It's brand new. So brand new that we don't even have a map video for it. Thank you for that, Tim. But yeah, we are...
We got the hands in there. What are you guys doing to me, look? He's not a fan of us. Last time I was here, I you know, typed a couple of things on Facebook about him and, you know, what he gets up to, and he got really upset at me. So clearly, he's keeping that in mind. But
we know what he likes on Facebook.
We do. I think just about everyone does. It's disgusting what he gets up to. But producer aside, we are about to get underway here in the second map in a brand new season in World of Tanks.
Yeah, MYM pushing up towards the northern area, and well, DeNova also responding quite well. They're pushing up into the city as well. Both teams pushing up into the city straight off the bat, as Sech looking to get those early spots out with his AMX 1390.
Yeah, that is indeed. But looking at the side that I'm currently with, they are actually populating that right-hand side of the map, using that 7, 8, 9 line, all kind of making their way across that north-east side. And Sech has been spotted there by Dovahkiin, I do believe. The early fire is coming in. I don't think there's any connection yet, just as of yet. And a nice kind of battle already kind of shaping up here. WoTilla is damaged, as is Dovahkiin. And, well, how's this looking for you?
DeNova are connecting the shells well. So much fire, you can see the smoke, you can see the plume. Our Statbender taking a lot of damage, down to 641 on that T69. Retreating now, as Spiel are lucky because I think they got away with that one a little bit. They could have taken a lot more damage, and it's just good that they managed to connect the shells and they managed to respond to quite an aggressive Spiel.
Yeah, indeed. They handled what could have been a very bad situation. But Spiel, you know, I think they expected a little bit more from that, but nevertheless, they retain a complete lineup. They've not lost anyone. There's not too much damage done either. There's a couple of players who got a little bit dinked, but, you know, no one really suffered in that one just as of yet. So they're just going to have to try and keep eyes on this, try and keep some presence towards the northeast side of the map. But no one really making any moves now. Is this the stalemate situations that can happen here after that very quick exchange? Do they not want to obviously make a mistake now? Because it can really come down to moments like this. Yeah,
that's what you often see on this map. We saw Sech at the beginning of that MX 1390 going towards the middle area, spotting out, hoping that he could connect some shells, and that's where artillery came in on this map. Obviously, he would have had reload. If he did connect a shell on these fragile French tanks, it would have been game over for them pretty much. It's not a very hard shot, as we are taking down Argeti straight away here in that T1, so that spot will be gone, and I think that was one of Spiel's key players in that position.
Yeah, indeed, and WoTilla and co are trying to keep eyes on that, but they seem a little bit surprised, if I'm completely honest with you, as now T1 has been spotted towards that city area, and I'm curious to see how they respond now.
Well, it could either be aggressive or it could be passive. It's the choice is in their hands completely, but you know, Spiel have the option of using those 2 AMX 5100s in the middle and the city. Obviously, DeNova will struggle because they have the faster lineup. They've only got one AMX 5100, and if they get into a city engagement, they won't have the HP, they won't have the firepower, that's for sure. Well, it's going to be about how they play this village, or it's going to be game over.
Yeah, indeed, and Mocky there, just keeping eyes on. Trying to find out where that T1 might have got to, but he still seems rather worried about where Dovahkiin and I believe it's Muppety actually. I know it's WoTilla, tell a lie. WoTilla's still up there next to Dovahkiin. Yeah, trying to get the attention towards exactly where that T1 was spotted because they have very little presence towards that city area. Literally, it is just Mocky kind of at the moment with that T1 sitting right back by the flag. So no one really wants to do any sort of movement here. They seem kind of at a bit of a loss now after losing that first player.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be interesting to see if Agriel has the ability to spot across the map. Obviously, Lauren just mentioned the T1 going down, so that will be that problem there on the eastern side. And that could indicate a push from Spell back into the city. And if they do, will Agriel manage to spot? And Sek obviously sitting there to his left. He probably will have the view range. He'll probably have near 425, which is the maximum for WoT Tanks.
Yeah, indeed. And it was Muppet who did catch a glimpse. I don't know if he actually got the shots off there with a good connection onto the T1, but he did certainly know exactly where the opposing player was, as now the pressure is being applied from just about everywhere. The T1s are right next to the flag. The shells are raining, and the AMX 1390 has made itself known right up by where Watilla and Dovahkiin were. So now Muppet is in a world of trouble. Literally, you can see both of the players right by the flag asking for help from the T69, who's going to have to start laying down some fire here.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, Sek being taken down to 92 HP. Winnie the Pooh just completely obliterating Muppety in those T1s. I mean, the problem with DeNova just then was the fact that they overstayed their welcome. They stayed in the middle area. Sek was spotted, even though I think he didn't realize he was. Dovahkiin connect the shells, MX5100 connect the shells, and that took him down to 92.
Yeah, Mocky already receiving damage there, and that's not going to help out at all. There's a right track even is already damaged. He did spot where Ronnie was just by his own flag, so he's going to have to play defensively now. Coming off right up by that H, meaning 6 line there. He was pushed up a little bit to try and keep eyes on the map.
Yeah, well, it's going to be all onto Yuri's shoulders, otherwise known as YR, one of the most talented WoT Tanks players we have ever seen, still sitting on 1,100 HP in his AMX 1390. While the rest of his team not doing so good. Ostapbender 641. Sek on a pitiful 92 HP, 1/10 of his health. Positive actually doing quite well, still on 1.4k. Agriel similar to Ostapbender on 618. But, you know, I think at this point, Spale have the HP advantage.
Just about, as Winnie the Pooh has been spotted once again. I think that was Mocky there who caught a bit of a glimpse just towards that city area as he's trying to get back down to that position he was in before, right on that 7 line, just towards the outskirts of the city, allowing that AMX even 50 to just kind of make his way up on that right side to try and help out the rest of his team, because I'm kind of curious what they're doing here, because they've got a massive presence right where the action went down just a moment ago.
Yeah, if they do push in, if they connect the shells, then they're going to win the battle. And I think that goes for both teams. Eurofish,
wow.
Watilla getting spotted. Watilla just taking 248, but Ostapbender gets responded with another 200. Watilla's down to very low health, onto 91. Will he get focused down? One more shot will do it as Eurofish goes in to support his side. Watilla will go down in that T69.
Yeah, indeed. And, well, Spell have to pull something out of the bag now. They're desperately on the back foot. The shells are connecting right onto them. Oh, he's straight out of there. And YR just absolutely decimated him, as now Mocky is trying to do the work. He spotted one. He does manage to take him out. He's taken down two there, actually, tell a lie. But they're at such a disadvantage now, it does seem.
Yeah, Dovahkiin managed to get a good couple of shells into Sek, but Ostapbender's to help, there to help his mate. And it looks like a strong DeNova compared to a slightly weak MYM we saw last season, as it looks like a poor push, poor positional push by Spale lost them this game. I mean, they were sitting in the open between the houses, and anyone who plays this map on random battles know you cannot sit in the open. I just sounded Scottish then, but yeah, we'll carry on. And it cannot sit in the open because you can't get into cover. You just can't. You're just going to get focused down, and if you overstay your welcome, like we just saw in the MX 5100 do, then you're gone.
Yeah, indeed. And, well, the base is being captured as Mocky is still trying to find a way back into this, but it is no way an easy feat. He's trying to do some work. He's already down to 91 HP, and he finally is taken down, as now, well, DeNova firmly have their hands on this map.
Yeah, with only 2 seconds left on the clock. 0 seconds on the clock, 100. And that will be the second map and the second win for DeNova. Such strong play. From, what as I was saying, a rather demean team from last season. They just they played so well. I mean, they took the positions, they knew what they wanted to do, they executed what they wanted to do well. I mean, DeNova are looking so strong.
For a team that placed, you know, after Spale in the previous season, they've clearly gone back. They've looked over what they were doing. They've been working hard, because right now they look so clear-cut over Spale. And it's unbelievable. I was watching Spale before, and these guys, they were talented, they're aggressive, they're nice kind of characters to their play, and they just look, like they've been completely outclassed there.
Yeah, it was a strange little game. I mean, Spale came 5th in the last season.
Yep.
DeNova, well, they were known as MYM back then, came 7th. As I said, narrowly leading to Dragonborns. And, if they continue playing like this, they're going to be amazing. Because I've always said about this team, if they can be consistent, then they can be the best. Because that is their problem. I mean, they've beaten the best teams. They've beaten WoT Pro. They've beaten all the other good Russian teams. They've beaten everyone. I mean, they're spectacular when they're playing like this. The problem is they need to win the games against Spale. They need to win the games against the good teams which are considered to be around their level.
The dangerous teams, though,
exactly.
They're the teams that can always pull something out of the bag. They're the teams that you can never go, okay, we know kind of their play style, we know what they're kind of normally doing. They're the teams that are always willing to take that kind of little bit of a risk. So to try and get consistent against them isn't easy. But that's the difference between a good team and a great team. So if they do manage to get the starting kind of consistency towards the season, there's certainly a team to keep your eyes on, because everything's new, everything's fresh. But I think we're going to go into the tank picks in just a moment. I think, they are ready now, and the first tank pick has been made, I think.
Yeah, it's a T1, an AMX 3090 from Eurofish. And here we go for, I think, will be the most interesting and the most defining map of this season, at least the start of the season. It will be Prokhorovka, the Russian battlefield, the famous battlefield. And it will be interesting to see, as we've been talking all today about the artillery pick. Will the teams be picking artillery? Will they be going for the Tier 7 GB Panther? Will they be going for the Lorraines? What will they be doing? Will they even go up to Tier 10, which they can do? Tier 8 is probably the more likely, but, we could see 10 points go in. And we just got to wait and see, because, honestly, I have no idea.
No, indeed.
No idea.
And the way this is playing out, you kind of want, obviously the Spale guys to pull something out of the bag that's a little bit kind of out there, that maybe the opposition won't expect, to kind of change the way this is going. Because obviously they looked at maybe last season and went, we did great last season, or we could do better. But, we're better than the team we're, playing against here if you look on paper. And maybe they're taking it a little bit for granted, but I want to see what comes out of this. And I think the picks are being made. So what have we got so far?
We've got a T1, as I said, an AMX 3090 from Spale. That was their first pick. We got an AMX 3090, a T69, that Tier 8 American medium tank, being picked from DeNova, and then responded by Spale picking an AMX 3090 and a T69. And then DeNova taking a T1, a T71. So far, no artillery, but it's not indicative of much, because the teams always pick the artillery as the last, because it's the surprise pick. Will they pick an artillery, or will they pick, like something, a T71 or a T69 or something instead?
Very true.
So we've still got at least another 10, 20 seconds till we know if the teams are opting for that choice in this season.
Yeah, and it's going to be a big surprise, to say the very least. With the patch updates, they clearly know what's been changed. It's going to be a real kind of defining moment. I'm kind of curious, what they're going to go for in this. I really want to know, because this is the first time I'm going to be commentating on this map, especially. I haven't seen much of it yet. I've seemed to always kind of miss this one out when I'm trying to make my way through this. So I want to see what they go for, and I think that the Spale side have actually selected all their tanks right now. Is that correct? No, actually.
They should still, they think they've picked them all,
Yep, indeed they have.
So, no artillery. We have it.
That's one side defined, at least.
I mean, I almost don't know what to say, because it's such a strange sight for me. We've seen for the last, I guess, 2 years of, well, I'd say a year, because esports really started taking off in World of Tanks like a year ago. So, but 2 years of playing competitions on Prokhorovka. We've seen artillery. I mean, I remember playing the Hummel and the Grill back on Prokhorovka and either winning the game or losing the game for my team. And now, teams taking no artillery, it's just, it blows my mind.
Indeed. So what do you think we can expect from this now? Obviously, with that element removed, what can we see in its place? What sort of game style adaptation are they going to have to bring out now? Because obviously the players are very capable, don't get me wrong. These guys will be very able to do it. If anything, obviously a team like these two can, adapt to it, take into account any changes that have been made. But what changes are we going to see? Obviously, as you said, game-changing moments can happen without artillery. How do you think that's going to change the gameplay now?
Well, I think everyone's got to be a little bit more smart, because you won't have that friendly eye in the sky helping you if you screw up.
Yeah, very good point.
Oh, but just as we were saying, the M44 being taken by DeNova, but still, you know, it's a new artillery, it's a new American one. It's still pretty interesting because Spell have taken no artillery. So I think this is even better because one team is gone for the old school, one team's gone for the new school.
Exactly.
Whichever one works, I think, will be the one we'll see in the rest of the season.
Yeah, indeed, and it's quite interesting to see the team that were, you know, fairly consistent in the last couple of games, especially over the last couple of maps we've seen. Going for something that you might not have expected. I thought Spale would be the ones to kind of pull it out and go, okay, we've got to try something now. It may not be ideal with, you know, the patch in mind, but we've got to try something because, you know, the last map it didn't work on. So, I don't know, I'm looking for them to bring out something a little bit different here, and they just didn't do it.
It's very interesting picks. I think we did, as Lauren just said, we expected to have something a little bit different, but you know, it's just, I think it's early days for these teams as well as for the you know, for the new patch. So
yeah,
we could see possibly seeing artillery come back, or we could not. It really depends. Obviously, the M44 being that tier 6 artillery, not quite doing as much damage as your Lorraines or your GV Panthers, but still a good pick. I think it'll be interesting.
Yeah, and I'm just going to tell them that we're ready when they are. Spale ready to rumble, but we're still waiting on the DeNova side to kind of get themselves in the right place. So once we do, who's your money on in this one? In this map, as you said, we see one team going for the old school, one team going for the new school. Who's your money on right now?
I mean,
we've seen the way they're playing before as well. You know what I mean? We've seen all the other maps. You've got to keep that in mind. Who are you going for?
I'm going for Spale because that damage they've got there. 4 AMX 1390s, and you can kind of see a slightly skimpy lineup, almost reminiscent of a Dignitas on Airfield lineup. Here we go on Prokhorovka. So I'll be following DeNova, as Lauren will be following Spale, as Spale are looking to come back into this game, losing the first 2 rounds on Ensk, and then we just saw them get completely obliterated on the new map that is Ruinberg.
Yeah, indeed, and Spale looking towards that 7-8 line here, making their way towards the right side of the map more than anything. See 2 players already splitting out, Dovahkiin and Mocky, joined by Uralfish, as Wutilla and Agaha kind of making their way down more of a central position, down that 6 line there. And now we're going to see if this kind of quite an aggressive start is actually going to pay off here, because these guys are really getting involved. They've already spotted that T-52, and no shells being landed. But Dovahkiin and Mocky make their way around to that right side. They're going to surely let off a couple of shots here.
Oh, Positive wow. Just taking a big shot. Dovahkiin's on the pursuit, taking him down to 297, but Dovahkiin could be in trouble here, being taken down to 408.
Oh, wow, he was tracked so early on and taken out of the game. That is heartbreaking for him, as now the rest of his team are in trouble.
Yeah, this is really, really reminiscent of the Virtus Pro versus Dignitas game we saw in the finals, with Virtus Pro completely charging in, eyes blinded. I don't know what they were doing, but he just got completely wiped out, as we're seeing here. DeNova just in the right positions to deal with Spale.
Yeah, Wutilla did some work, but Agarhard did get damaged in retort, so they're going to have to back up a bit. That aggressive start clearly not paying off the way they wanted at all. So Wutilla, Aga, and Uralfish making their way back down that 6 and 7 line to try and find a better position here, try and recoup, rethink things out right now, because that initial start, as you rightly said, caught them completely off guard there. They didn't expect to be under pressure so early on.
Interestingly enough, Winnie the Pooh was taken out in that M44, so that will be DeNova's artillery advantage being taken, but normally that would be fair enough, but it's not really, because now DeNova have the tank advantage, they have the HP advantage, and they can win it just purely on that, as opposed to winning on artillery. And
I've got to say, I think it was Wutilla just said in chat, it was a trap. Clearly not going the way they wanted, but we do see a bit of adaptation already coming out from Uralfish, And I believe that's Watilla joining him there down that 5 line. So looking to switch something up here. Maybe trying to catch off guard the rest of the opposing side. But God knows it's going to pay off, because surely they're right in between the two, you know, the players, the way they're splitting off. Surely they're going to be spotted right now. They're making a massive push straight down the middle, straight in probably to the eyes of the opponent. They've caught a glimpse of just a T71 there by the flag. But, well, that T69 is going to be causing trouble now. Watilla looks like he's a little bit worried about that. Requesting fire already coming from Eurofish. Some connection there, knocking him down to only 380. But, well, here comes the reply.
Yeah, Eurofish taking a lot of damage, and now it's DeNova's game to win. They can easily focus down. They've pincered the whole of Spale, Watilla only being the one left, as Muppety says the GGs. But Watilla's still pretty healthy at this point.
Yeah, indeed, and fantastic pincer movement. That aggressive push down mid just didn't pay off at all, allowing the ex-MYM, now DeNova side, to make their way straight up round behind them and completely take them down to size. So Muppety and Watilla trying to find their sort of, I don't know, safe haven, but, well, it's been taken away from them, stripped away. Now Watilla is the last man standing, going to try and desperately make his way away, but he looks like he's under severe pressure.
Yeah, 3-1 down to 168, 150 damage coming out from that gun. Probably 1 or 2 more shots will do it. 1 more shot will do it now. And it will have to be... Oh, yes, there we go. Wyeth sniping down Watilla as DeNova completely blowing Spale out the water in a 3-0 absolute shocker.
Yeah, and that, I don't think any of us would have predicted that to happen.
No.
That aggressive start from Spale there, they came flying out of it, you know, straight down mid, straight to the right section. And, you know, they had an early exchange. It didn't go great for them, but it didn't go awfully. It was okay. Then they backed off, round mid, flew up mid again. And they just allowed themselves to be pincered. What the hell happened there?
I honestly think that they knew they had lost the game, kind of. I don't know. I'm not sure. It was a 50-50. I think you should never say you've lost the game, because you can always come back. You can always come back. We've seen it loads of times before. And I think, you know, DeNova is just one of those teams that really does pay attention to the VODs, and they've been watching Spale's games play. They've been watching the finals of Dignitas versus WoT Pro, and we just saw an almost mirrored match then. Obviously,
incredible.
Yeah, I mean, it was just, I mean,
wow.
We didn't expect DeNova to play so similarly to that finals, and we didn't expect Spale to run straight into that trap again.
That was unbelievable. They even said it's a trap straight away.
Exactly, they knew it.
They even knew straight away. They're like, oh, no, we've been caught out. Okay, let's adapt here. I expect them to play quite passively then, try and make up for that early deficit. But no, let's just run straight back into another trap that was quite clear there. The presence was known, but the GGs have been said. You know, they even said, you know, good luck in the next game, guys. You know, it's a fairly, you know, it's a good kind of relationship between the two teams. They seem quite happy the way that went.
Yeah, there's plenty of good, you know, there's none of these teams that have a rivalry. Or I mean, there's friendly rivalry between, like, Spale and Kazna Crew, but, you know, it's not, like, serious or anything. Everyone's having fun. But, you know what annoys me?
What's that?
The artillery wasn't proven or disproven.
Exactly.
So that'll be
it's another day.
Another day. We'll have to find out on Thursday. But, you know, if the artillery comes into the equation,
who knows?
Who knows? I mean, do let us know on Facebook or Twitter if you think so. We'd love to hear your responses, because your responses are as good as ours. We have no idea. But, you know, if you're a pro team, you know, stay silent, because we don't want to know yours. We want to guess on Thursday. But that's it for today's WoT Pro League first cast of this season. We will be going into another few set of games on Thursday. It's 2 match days as it was last season, but this one is really action-packed. We've got, you know, we've got like a month to do the whole season.
I can't wait.
It's going to be amazing. It's going to be incredible. I mean, obviously, Gamescom, huge festival, will be our finisher, and it's going to be it's going to be amazing. I'm really looking forward to it.
Indeed, and what a way to get, you know, my first 2 games have been astounding. Anyone who doubts World of Tanks thinks, oh, it's just not that great, it's a bit boring, it's a bit slow. I think we've just proven you wrong in 2 separate games with 4 different teams. So, guys, make sure you tune in again. We're going live on Thursday, I believe.
We are. Same time, same place.
Tune in.